How do you ignore a 5-year-old whispering, "I'm sorry," in his sleep, like he's carrying a secret too heavy for him? That question has stayed with me, because the night it happened, I knew a line had been crossed, and whatever was hurting my nephew Owen was coming from inside his own home. He lay asleep on the pull-out bed beside me, small body tense, fists gripping his blanket like he was bracing for a hit. His breathing changed, short, panicked. Then the words cracked out of him, thin and broken. "Mommy, Daddy, I'm sorry, please." That wasn't a nightmare. It was guilt. A confession from a child who should have been dreaming about playgrounds and cartoons. I touched his shoulder gently, whispered his name, but he only curled tighter, pulling his little stuffed bear to his chest like it was a shield. In the morning he looked exhausted, older somehow. At the table, he barely lifted his spoon. "Owen, why were you apologizing last night?" He froze. His spoon clattered against the bowl. He didn't look up. "I can't tell you, I'm sorry." There's a world of difference between won't and can't. And kids don't use can't unless the truth scares them more than the question. I didn't push, not yet, but I watched him. And every instinct in me, the soldier, the man who's seen real fear, told me this wasn't random. 3 days later, I drove to my sister Megan's neighborhood, parked 2 streets away, walked the last block with that quiet, deliberate pace I learned overseas, the one you use when you're not sure what's waiting on the other side. Through the living room window, I saw everything. Dim lights, a half-empty bottle of wine, 2 glasses. Megan sitting close, too close to a man I'd never seen before, his hand resting on her thigh with the confidence of someone who'd done it 100 times. Her laugh soft and familiar in a way her husband Mark hadn't heard in years. But the worst part? Owen, standing in the hallway, silent, small, watching the entire scene unfold like a secret he wasn't supposed to know. His shoulders tightened, his little jaw trembled. And suddenly, the apologies made perfect sense. He wasn't confessing something he'd done. He was drowning in something he'd seen. I walked away without knocking. Confrontation without proof is just noise. I didn't want noise. I wanted the truth, undeniable, irrefutable. The next morning I started digging. Bank statements, unusual charges, hotels in other cities, a dinner receipt from a place Mark refused to eat at, social posts that didn't match timelines or locations, a girl's weekend that perfectly overlapped with a 2-night stay at a hotel an hour away. The deeper I dug, the clearer the double life became. So I hired a private investigator. A week later, he came back with photos and timestamps. Parking lot embraces. Hotel room check-ins. The same man from the window. Her hand in his. Her mouth on his. Her wedding ring still on. Meanwhile, Owen walked around my house quiet and heavy, like he was afraid I could read his secrets just by looking at him. Then came Sunday dinner, the moment everything snapped into place. Megan played perfect wife. Mark joked and smiled, completely unaware his world was about to split open. And Owen kept pushing food around his plate with a stare that broke me a little more each time I looked at him. When the plates were cleared, I pulled the envelope from my jacket and set it on the table. "Mark, open it." He opened it slowly, expecting nothing more serious than paperwork. But then confusion flickered. Then shock. Then that deep, hollow quiet, the kind that hits a man when he realizes the life he trusted was a lie. One by one, he pulled out the photos. Hotel rooms. Parking lots. Hands. Faces. Dates. Times. Everything laid bare. Megan reached across the table, voice cracking, hand trembling. But she stopped cold when she saw Owen standing beside his chair, looking at her with eyes filled, not with anger, but with heartbreak. The kind only a child can feel when someone he loves shatters the world he depends on. "Mom, I'm sorry." His voice didn't break. Hers did. Tears spilled instantly. She covered her mouth, shaking. Not because of the cheating, but because her son blamed himself for her choices. Mark stared at her with a clarity sharper than fury. No shouting. No chaos. Just realization, simple, final. She tried everything. Denial. Blame. Excuses. But truth doesn't move. I didn't address her. I looked directly at Mark. You deserve to know. Then I walked out. No dramatics. No speeches. Just the evidence on the table and the silence of a family cracking open behind me. Over the next few days, Megan called nonstop rage, tears, pleading, apologies, accusations. I ignored every one. I wasn't her shield. I wasn't her confessor. I was the one who turned on the light. Mark filed for divorce within the week. The affair partner disappeared. And Owen, for the first time in weeks, he slept through the night without whispering apologies into the dark. That was enough for me. Not satisfaction. Not triumph. Just relief that the burden finally landed where it belonged. She destroyed her own life. I only exposed it.